First of all, appreciation and
all around.
And for Esther in there somewhere. And so I have followed you for quite a long time.
We're actually the ones doing the following, but all right. You're out here on the leading edge. You're the ones stirring up the trouble. We're just in here with you, trying to help you soothe your troubles so that you can receive what you're reaching for. Yeah?
And I have been receiving and receiving and receiving, and I really, truly have such a wonderful life. I really am in a high vibration.
We believe you.
And then there is that thing I do.
We believe that too.
And I've had this question for probably 16 years.
The time's gone. You spent so much time trying to justify being here that you lost your... We're kidding, but you might want to get to it.
I'm not even going to form it as a question.
Good.
I'm just going to say the one word, parenting. Almost everything, I listen to the old tapes, the new tapes, the books.
Do you hear how much preparation you're doing? You see, we have to give this to you. This will help you really, really a lot. Because in every moment, here you are, attracting. And you're sitting here, we're co-creating and about to get right to something really important. But you've been sitting here for quite a while, establishing where you are, sort of wanting to bring everyone up to date about where you are. And it is that need to explain yourself that is mostly in your way. Because do you know that in every moment in time, so lots goes on in your world, and really a lot goes on with parenting. And the more interaction you have with your children and they have with their peers and so on and so on and so on, there's quite a mix of stuff going on. And if we could bring you to a point of clarity where you could just understand, okay, here's where I am, what do I want, and what thought feels best about that. Done. Here I am, not here I am and this is how long I've been getting here, and no drum rolls, no leading up to it, because there really isn't time for that, because the law of attraction is responding to you now. And so if you're spending a whole lot of those nows trying to explain to someone how you got to where you are holding yourself where you have been or where you are, rather than moving on, which is the whole point of everything. Moving on in the direction of what you're wanting. So everyone heard that, and we would have started the same way with 100% of this room, nearly so. 85%, 62%, 43%. A lot of people in this room would do it the same way. So standing where you are, having lived what you've lived, without offering too much detail or explanation, just explain to us what that experience has caused you right here, right now, to want to open your valve to receive. What do you want from your parenting experience?
Well, my kids are...
Now, come on.
Joy, what do I want from my parenting experience? I want them to find their way.
We know. Almost 100%, 47%. Almost everyone in this room thinks that it's about what somebody else needs to do in order to get you what you want. But really, we're not asking you what you want them to do. We're asking you, we're not mad at you. We just seem like it because we're so animated here. We're just so intense about this thing that is so important to you. So what do you want your point of attraction to bring you? What is it that you want?
Expansion.
Well, that's inevitable. So what else?
Satisfaction.
Want to feel good as I'm expanding. So what would bring you satisfaction? Focus there. What's a satisfying parenting experience? What feels good to you regarding parenting?
Satisfaction of my kids.
Them being happy?
Yes.
Well, that is a fair and not an inaccurate response in this sense. As you live life and know what you don't want and know what you do want, when your children are unhappy, you want them to be happy. When they're confused, you want them to be clear-minded. In other words, you have, through your life experience with them, put much about them in your vortex. And so what's in your vortex, your inner being, is focused on 100% of the time. The question is, what are you doing in any moment in time in relationship to what your inner being is doing? So The vantage point of your inner being relative to your children is this. Just going to speak it to you clearly. Spectacular, right on track, expanding, coming to ask, queuing up for future life experiences, developing their own guidance system, loving life, wanting more, glad they're here. So what do you think your thoughts are like that? Do you think that you feel confident about your children and their ability to attract? No, hardly ever, because you're observing and coming to conclusions. But this is how you know how on track or off track you are with something that matters to you. When you are observing, or even observing a thought in your mind, pondering, remembering, imagining, or observing something to do with your children, and you're smiling and feeling happy, you're in perfect sync with your inner being. That means your point of attraction is right where you want it to be. Satisfaction is assured. In fact, it's happening right now while you're smiling. If you're angry or worried, you're a vast vibrational difference from your inner being. So what you've asked for through life, what you've put into your vortex about these kids, your inner being is all over it, but you're not. Now, this doesn't have anything to do with your kids. It's not going to make or break them. It's not going to slow them down or speed them up, because this conversation is about you and your relationship with your inner being, which is the only thing that matters. It seems like it's about your kids, seems like it's about parenting, but it isn't. You put all that stuff in your vortex. You have agreements even before any of you come into your bodies. Everything is unfolding beautifully, and when you think otherwise, because anyone in the scenario is having a step one moment where you're asking for something and focused for a moment on what you don't want, your inner being is always focused upon the newfound desire in that moment, you see. So much of your life experience, Esther is commenting to herself a lot lately about how much time she spends speculating unnecessarily, because every scenario could go 1,000 or 10,000 different ways. You can speculate anything into anything, but the only question is my speculation in this moment on target or off target from what my inner being is knowing? Because my inner being is not speculating, my inner being is knowing. My inner being knows their value, knows where they are, knows what's coming, knows their power, is thrilled with their existence. And if you're doing anything not like that, then you're missing an opportunity to have the satisfaction that you just told us you want. Most people think they got to get their kids to be different or know different or understand something different. Esther's been saying to us, and we've been repeating it back to her, nobody gets you, especially your kids. Nobody gets you, because that's not the deal. You didn't come here to perform in ways to attract the approval of anyone, especially your children. And yet you've been on a popularity contest with them from the day they were born. Nothing matters more to you than that they like you. And that wasn't the deal when they came in. They didn't say, I'll come into my physical body and I'll look around and mostly I'll like my mother. None of them said that. In fact, all of them were really appreciative that you were offering an avenue in, but then they hoped you'd get lost. Because your speculation as you try to make sense of their life through your lens is futile, and it makes them nuts. Esther's asking, let's see, as she's having some confusion with someone, is this a language barrier? Barrier meaning kerfluffle, resistance, tug of war. Is this a language barrier or a cultural barrier, or is this a religious barrier or a political barrier, or is this a law of attraction barrier? Is this a vibrational match barrier? And meanwhile, we're smiling and listening and answering her question every time. No, it's not that. No, it's not that. It isn't that. It isn't that. It isn't that. It isn't that. It's a you out of sync with you barrier, Esther. 100% of the time, and you're using whatever's happening as your excuse to have the barrier or the tug of war. And so, if you're hearing us and if you're getting it a little bit, you got to be feeling more free right now, because there's a whole lot of stuff you've been trying to control that, number one, you can't control, number two, you can't control, and number three, you can't control. So you might as well just control what you can control, which is your relationship with your inner being, who knows what you want, is all over it, is rooting for it and influencing it and guiding you. You can tell by the way you feel whether your in the moment influence is helping your cause. Hear these words: helping your cause, not helping them to perform or behave. Helping your cause. What's your cause? Satisfaction. What's your cause? Alignment with inner being. Because when you are tuned in to your inner being and you're holding anyone, kids you love so much or strangers, as your object of attention, when you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on, you are always adding benefit. But when you're not, the opposite is happening, and you can tell by the way you feel. We've been saying for a long time, give them the benefit of the doubt. Who? Everybody. And you too. Give the benefit of the doubt. And you know, when you give someone the benefit of the doubt, you know who gets the benefit? You get the benefit. You're no longer making stuff up to explain something that is not any of your business. So many of the parenting books want to make everything forevermore your business. You gave birth to them, they're your problem. And them being born into freedom as deliberate creators of their own experience defies that ridiculous notion. They didn't come to please you or enhance your life, and you didn't give birth to them to please yourself or to enhance your life. You're all co-creating in this vast environment of variety, where collectively you get to choose what rings your bells, but you got to focus yourself until your bells ring. Don't ask anybody else to be the reason your bells are ringing. You got to ring them.